Hi, everyone. This is Jane Hatch. I'm a shaman, a psychic, remote viewer, and also a targeted individual, and a few other things. Today, I'm going to do a remote view for a targeted individual in the Netherlands. She wants to know where her targeting is originating from. And if you're a targeted individual, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm just hoping everything is working. I finally got the lights and camera, and now I want to make sure of the audio. So if you're targeted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're new to this channel and you came on for shamanism or a secret space program, actually secret space program and the targeted individual program are linked together. And a lot of targeted individuals were abductees, my lab abductees, who were put in what we call aftercare. And the aftercare is sponsored by the US Navy and the CIA, and it's to keep you traumatized for the rest of your life so that you don't remember what they did to you, because everything they did to you, if you were an abductee, is illegal, especially if you were a child, which most of us were. So they target us in many, many different ways. And one of them is directed energy weapons and targeted justice, which was one of the most reliable sites for information, which I just went to and I couldn't get through. So I don't know what is going on. I hope they're not gone. I'm just adjusting this light because they were amazing source of information. Uh, but they were not there. I got a 404 message. So they have amazing information about targeted individuals, and it's targetedjustice.com. But they will target us with directed energy weapons, and they are coming from all over the world. But the primary base, the most powerful base, is Shriver's Air Force Base in Colorado, and they have a huge underground base there where they have the most advanced electronics in the world on the planet anyway. Off planet they have more advanced technology, but on planet Shriver's, I believe some of the representatives of targetedjustice.com said they can target anybody in the world, in on the planet. If you're out in the middle of the ocean on a raft, they can target you because they are learning to do it with DNA. They have samples. That's why everybody gives blood when they're born. They have samples of all our DNA, and they can target you based on your DNA. In a lot of other ways too. If you're chipped, they can with a microchip, just something my father sold from Needham, Massachusetts, I believe, for Honeywell. Microchips, capacitors, all those things we can be tracked by. They also have remote neural monitoring, which has been around for a long time. It's not new. Elon Musk is trying to say it's new. If you're a targeted individual, you know it's been around for decades. We're brains. A lot of us are linked to the military technology, so they can track and monitor, and they can see how you're surviving and make adaptations for the general public. We're kind of the test subject. So I didn't really mean this to be about targeted individuals, but I just wanted to give a brief explanation. And also, I have a friend in the Netherlands who is getting targeted pretty heavily right now. She thinks it's coming along the surface of the earth. I think that is, I'm not sure if that's scalar, or I get that too. It's coming up from the ground rather than down from satellites, and all their other technology they have up there, cell towers and whatnot. They can project they've weaponized just about everything on the planet to the degree that they could. With Elon, it may become more, everything may become weaponized as far as the digital ID. But here I go again. So she is in the Netherlands. She is a whistleblower. She's blowing the whistle on the royal family and their involvement in MK Ultra mind control and child sex trafficking and a lot more. So she's getting heavily targeted right now because she is actually giving all that information to me. Some of it's out there, but I'm recording a lot of it. But she's so anyway. I said to her that most of it's coming from the U.S. Navy in the United States at Shriver's Air Force Base. So I'm a little nervous because I have a prejudice towards that, and I'd like, yeah, I wish I could do this with someone else. I think that's called a double blind, or to have someone, another remote viewer, view this without the same prejudice towards one entity or another. And I already know intellectually that's where a lot of it's coming from, but I'm going to try to stay clear, stay open, and see if I can see. So I'm going to call in my power animals and spirit guides who know me and love me and have known me my whole life for protection, because they can identify shapeshifters. They can identify anyone that might be giving anything or anyone or any entity that might be giving me the wrong information. And they will keep them away. And typically, shamans will drum 4 different directions, 4 times in each direction. It's signaling to the spirit world that I'm open, I'm receptive to information, I'm looking for information. So this I have to do with my eyes closed. And I'm gonna see, okay, so I'm seeing her looking down at the planet with sort of X-ray eyes. She kind of looks like a goddess. So, or it's a female entity that has eyes like with beams of light. They look like they're searching. Okay, so it looks like this is someone helping me. This is a Native American female searching for me with spotlights. Looks like on searching. She's using her 2 eyes are like spotlights, are roaming, like you'd see in a prison with the light where they show in the movies, like it's moving around, it's searching in corners, it's so yes, I do see Shriver's Air Force Base. So again, I hope I am not prejudicing my own remote viewing. I like not to have an idea of how things might be when I remote view, but I've studied targeted individuals a lot. So okay, I'm seeing they have her like they have me on a screen. They have all our vital information. It even looks like they might have us side by side. So right now I'm remote viewing the underground base. I'm keeping my distance, believe me. I'm keeping my distance from this place. But I'm being shown. We're side by side on screens. They can see, they're watching everything we're doing. They're very aware of every single thought, plan, everything we've communicated. I'm surprised they haven't intervened. They may be waiting for something. So yeah, I see they're sending out it looks like bolts of let's see. It's, yeah, what would you call something that's crawling across the earth on the ground level? Scalar or and hitting her. It's like pew, like a weapon that would go pew, and then again. And so what are they, they're not, they don't want to kill us because they like to torture us. The Navy likes to torture, according to a lot of the survivors of Langley Air Force Base and Camp Hero Navy base in New York, who were abducted for the Montauk Project. And particularly, I'm thinking of Penny Penny Marshall, Penny Penny Bradley. I always substitute TV stars' names. I don't know why I do that. Who I interviewed for my channel, and you can see the interview. It's astounding. It's astonishing. She was abducted when she was 5 years old from her home in California and taken to Langley Air Force Base in underground um, highways, roads from California to Langley in Virginia. A lot of it was underground, but she said when it wasn't underground, it was Route 66. She was thrown in a basement area because at that point, I think it was the 1950s, the CIA facility at Langley was not entirely built. And she was tortured for a year with you name it. I'm not going to go into that. But they split her mind, I think, at least 32 times and programmed each one of them for different jobs for the military, including as an assassin. But she said, and I've never heard anyone else say this so specifically, that, and she was also taken to a German facility, but she said the US Air Force likes to torture children. On that level. I'm sure there's many, many nice people that have no idea what's going on in the Navy, but once you reach that level of top, even the president doesn't have the security clearance for these top secret MK Ultra projects with children. So they like to torture, and we may be sold. They may have sold our bodies to weapons testing so they can't kill us. So it's like they're fooling with her in a way. They're also, they're trying to punish her for sharing it because she has astounding information like all survivors, but there is a sense of nervousness, which I don't often see on that level of psychopathy coming from a Navy base, because in general, psychopaths do not get nervous. They only know a couple of different emotions, and nervousness just isn't generally one of them. But I sense a concern here, certainly not for her life, but for the information that she's sharing, because it not only involves a royal family, it involves, of course, many military bases in the United States and all presidents and vice presidents since 1970 to 2010. So yeah, there's a concern. So why aren't they? She's got, they can't, there's some contracts, they just can't kill us. Not contracts or morality, but she has a lot of protection. I have a lot of protection. The karma, right? The karmic consequences for killing her would be astronomical for these people because of who she is, her bloodline. So that's the concern. They just can't get rid of her. I'm sensing. But they're trying to make it almost impossible for her to be able to communicate and talk. And so they have, they've joined us together in the base. They're watching us as our partnership, I guess you could say. So yes, I'm getting that it's coming from Shriver's Air Force Base. If there's another remote viewer out there that would like to do a remote view to back this up or to contradict it, I'd really like to see. And I could probably tell you her. I'll be interviewing her this week anyway, so you'll know her name. So yeah, I'm getting it's US military, which is, not a surprise. And when I say, military, I'm usually talking about the Navy or the Air Force. The Marines don't seem to be as involved in the child abduction and torture programs. And I'm talking about the very, very high level psychopathic, you know, joint chiefs of staff, people that really, really, really know what's going on with the U.S. Navy in these categories of MK Ultra experimentation. And I don't know if you know or not, but in 1975, the Church Committee was formed in the United States by a leading Democrat political leader, and supposedly they studied MK Ultra, and they brought to task the CIA, the FBI, I think even NASA, and accused them of human torture through MK Ultra. And they came out with like 7 volumes of books, and they were public, and there was like interviewed 800 people, and they identified that the CIA was using MK Ultra. And so it's not a conspiracy. It's all out there. It's all been documented ad nauseum. But again, like with the Epstein case, they haven't done anything, and they haven't arrested anyone, and it goes on. So it's not a conspiracy that there's targeted individuals out there who are being MK Ultra'd. And if they're going to MK Ultra them, then they're gonna they're gonna use weapons on them. That's child's play to them, is hitting us with directed energy weapons. So it's not a conspiracy. So I didn't want to make this too long. I have another interview coming up, and I just wanted to put this out, a remote view. I like doing remote views. They're easy for me. They're relaxing, and I think they can be helpful because you can go back in time and forward in time on the web of life. I don't, my whole soul doesn't go. I know there's some time travelers, their whole soul goes. But I send, like, my subsoul is watching a lot of this. And sometimes I'm going, and sometimes I'm actually very remote. So I'm going to just wind this up. And if anybody has any questions or comments, please do so below. I will, please subscribe. That would be great. And I'll put my website below and any other upcoming information as far as classes and healings. And I can do power animal retrieval. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it long distance. I've done it. I can do that. I gotta, discuss with my guides if I otherwise you would have to come to Santa Fe. But I've done a lot long distance, so I'm going to put information about that. So I hope all is well. Thank you for listening, and thank you for subscribing.